I'm Councillor Mary representing North Ward.
And I'm Councillor Henry Davis from the South Ward, and we're both elected council members of the City of Adelaide.
Adelaide City Talks is your window into the City of Adelaide and all the things that make our city great, and that keeps it that way.
Now, we don't always agree on everything,
And our views are our own.
but we don't hold back or skirt around the big issues.
Because this is our city.
And it's your city.
And there's a lot to talk about.
So join us for Adelaide City Talks. Welcome to another podcast of Adelaide City Talks, and today we'll be talking about the council meeting on Tuesday, the 9th of April. It was a pretty eventful meeting, I think. We talked about budgets, we talked about music, we talked about the parklands.
Heritage.
So there's a lot going on. Heritage, old things, that's always good. So we've got the old and the new, and also we might quickly mention and talk about the new building in that they're proposing near Parliament House as well. So we can touch on that and give some views. So why don't we jump straight into some comments that were made about the last council. So Councillor Martin blamed the last council for not increasing rates, and therefore the argument was in this term that we need to increase rates. So what we're looking at the moment is that what's been proposed is a rate increase of 6.68%, and that's off the back of a very large increase. Now
It's gone from 7.4 to 6 point, what'd you say, 6?
Yeah, 6.68, I think it is.
Okay.
But they were talking up at the 7% figure before our last workshop. So obviously, now, Mary, you started COVID, didn't you? You ate the bat in Wuhan.
Fault.
It was
I'm so sorry. It's all my fault.
And as a result of that, you decided to freeze rates in the last council, and it's your fault.
Councillor Martin stood up with his big speech that it was council's fault. Even though he's been there the longest, last term of council's fault. It was Team Adelaide's fault. It was all their fault. I don't know whoever Team Adelaide is, because I think he's the creator of pinpointing.
He probably created it.
That some Team Adelaide is the basis to the reason why COVID had happened.
Yes.
And
it was saying that. Well, he was basically whinging about the fact that the last council hadn't put up council rates and that we'd frozen the rate in the dollar. And the point, I think, and he puts it very well, but the point is, one, you had COVID, and two, you're actually trying to look at increasing your revenue through growth, not by actually increasing rates.
Well, as a person that was here in the last term of council, the first year of your budget is always a get to know. You can never make decisions on the first year of your budget. You get elected in November, and the first thing that you go into is budget talks, and it's very overwhelming. And if anyone tells me that it's not, then they are obviously of another level, because you have to understand the ins and outs of all of the operations, and it's very complicated. So your first budget is really a continuation of what the last term of council had put together, really, or whatever recommendations council had put through. So that was the first budget, right, the first year. The second year is
2019, wasn't it?
2019 is where we started picking up momentum, finding our feet, and working through a lot of the budget in relation to, moving forward and policies and all of that. So there's a lot of shaping that needs to be done, and we were getting there. And then, bang, COVID happened. And all these dreams that you had, or aspirations that you were going to go and start implementing within the budget, the requirement to start doing up our main street, which was the focus of last term council, couldn't come to fruition because we entered into a
complete lockdown in
pandemic.
The city. Yeah.
And there was a lockdown. There was a lot of fear. There was a lot of concerns. We did not know how long it would go for. We have, and I keep saying, between 75 to 80% of our rates come from commercial. We have businesses that were crying for support. We had no one coming into the city. The economy of the city is based on visitors coming into the city, and it was crazy.
Well, and I want to put some context around our previous. So in 2018, there was a bit of a study done by realestate.com, of all places, and it actually compared the median house rate of council. So in 2018. Now, for the median house rate in Burnside, it was about $1,500. In Charles Sturt, it was $1,100. In Mitcham, about $1,500 again. And all of the council medium rates is around that $1,500 mark across the city. I'm talking Burnside, Campbelltown, Marion, all of that, around $1,500. The median house price for Adelaide City Council was actually $1,900. So it's almost like a third more. So I don't even for a second agree with the accusation that your council rates in the city were actually extremely high back in 2018 to start off with.
Well, they in comparison, if you're comparing it to other councils, sure.
Well, medium house rate, like the thing is, a house is worth a house. You have one bin, you have the same amount of verge. Yeah.
Well, you got to remember also that.
And Burnside houses are much bigger, so there's more verge to look after. We actually pay for the upgrade of our own roads. Oh, well, that's the other thing. We don't have any state or federal roads.
We don't. So we have to remember that. There's a lot of things that we have to remember. We are a very different functioning council. But during that time where if we didn't have the pandemic, if we didn't have that little bump in the road, there would have been at least one or two streets done by now, main streets. But that happened and it delayed. In the process, there was a lot of consultation being done during the lockdown. There was a plan that was done on Hindley Street, concept plans. I think there was also one done on O'Connell Street, but don't quote me on that. I know there was Hutt Street. That's the one. Hutt Street. There was one done on Hutt Street, one done on Hindley Street. So momentum was happening.
Well, let's go.
But let me just tell you, Henry, the reason why that no money was put on the budget, when those concept plans were given to us at the last year in council, it was decided that this piece of work is pretty it's going to be, it's going to hit the bottom line, right?
Yeah.
Because they came back telling us that Hindley Street's going to cost us $25 million.
Yeah.
So we decided as a council that it's best that we leave this for the next elected body.
Sure.
To add that, because it's not something that you're going to say no to, right? And that's just the way it was.
Well, okay. So let's talk about that. So we had concept plans for $25 million. The other night, that was an open workshop, wasn't it? The concept designs. Yeah.
Yes, it was. Yes.
So we presented the concept designs. Now, they looked exactly the same as the old concept designs. Now, I was told that the major street upgrades had been cut dramatically, right? So that Hindley Street was only going to get $12 million.
That's right.
But now they've brought forward and they said, oh, no, we're actually going to deliver the full concept design.
That's right.
And what they said was, oh, we're going to take the renewal budget.
That's right.
And so I was like, what? So you've gone out and said that it's going to cost you $140 million for all these major street upgrades.
Yes.
Then just looking at Hindley Street, they said, oh no, we're going to cut Hindley Street down to $12 million. And I was outraged at this because I thought that was completely letting down the residents of Adelaide. What they really needed is spend the full $25 million.
You would not be able to get a really good upgrade for $12 million.
Absolutely not. And then now all of a sudden it's back up to $25 million.
That's right.
And I couldn't be more confused about how this...
Hang on a minute, Henry. Let's be really honest here. If you were
honestly, that's terrifying.
If you were just out, you're not in council. We know basically we live and eat and breathe the discussions.
Yeah.
But if you're listening to this as a ratepayer, as a constituent,
you know who does eat and breathe council? My mum. Who's sitting in the studio today. She watches the council meetings and then she'll comment the next day.
That's excellent.
Yeah,
that's great. So we need the commentary.
Commentary. Sorry, keep
going. Is that you would think you'd be forgiven to think that we're only spending $12 million because that's what's in the budget. That's new money, right?
Yeah.
But we're really going to be spending money out of the renewals, which is why they want to increase the rates so we can have the money to take money out of the renewals and spend that on Hindley Street.
Can I just fix your...
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
It was bothering me.
Mary had a whole bunch of string hanging off her wrist.
Staring at you.
Is that a spider hanging off you? All
so
right,
really it is going to cost, the street is going to cost $25 million.
Yeah, and I think that's what the budget's going to be.
Yeah, but it's going to go over budget that.
Yeah.
There is no way.
So we'll probably we might be getting up to, say, $30 million to deliver that.
I reckon.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Anyway,
I just don't know why they just didn't put that under new. But
going back to our conversation.
Oh, which one?
Sorry, about the last term of council being responsible.
Yeah.
So
you guys started.
So we have to also remember the same councillor that stood up and did his grand speech about blaming the last term of council for not raising the rates and putting us in this predicament is the same councillor that had a motion that he wanted to give 6 months free rates.
Yeah.
to all the businesses and the residents in the city of Adelaide.
So what's that, $60 million?
No, it was about $20 million.
Oh, to residents and businesses.
Oh, no, no, it was...
And businesses, that's a lot of money. Our rate revenue would be,
It was going to be completely impacted.
Probably double our current debt.
So there is a question on notice that was done.
That sounds good back then.
Yeah, but there was a question on notice that was done whether if we followed all of Councillor Martin's motions on what he wanted to do the budget, where would we be?
Oh.
And there was something, don't quote me, but it was millions and millions of dollars in debt.
Well, we will go to the Crown and Anchor in a second, and people making outlandish claims that achieve nothing and then have no responsibility for actually fulfilling them, because this is my pet hate at the moment. But I did want to talk about just quickly, when we're doing this, they've set up this capital spend of new capital spend, and they've set up like the renewals budget, and the way that it's getting presented to us, in my mind, is extremely confusing. So the way that I look at a council budget, I've been doing a long time, 8 years in Burnside. The way they do it here is very foreign to me. So what I would want to look at, it's like a household budget, right? You want to go, okay, so we're going to set how much our savings are going to be, what's based on what our income is. All right. And do we need to try and find higher jobs or cut some spending? You do that over a longer period of time. You look at what's going to happen during the year. You look at what's going to happen about holidays, but also continuing forward. Well, we want to have a holiday every single year. We want to buy a house for ourselves. Okay, well, let's look at this over a long time. And that's called, in council world, is the long-term financial plan. And it goes over 10 years. And as far as I can see at the moment, we're $200 million in debt in 10 years' time. So we need to have a discussion around rates and how much we increase rates by this year in the context of that 10-year projection, because I don't want to be raising rates at 6.68% this year if we actually need to raise it by 20%, so we're not $200 million in debt in how much time, because $200 million in debt is actually at a 5% interest rate. It's $10 million a year just paid in interest, not even principal. So that's going to hurt future council. So I made the point that how could we possibly, and I discussed this last time as well, same thing, and I said, how can we possibly be setting our budget without a long-term financial plan? It's a bit of a nerdy point. They said that the administration said, Henry, we'll do that after the budget. And I said, well, there's no point in doing it after the budget. When you go out to consultation, you need to tell people that this is going to be our net debt in 10 years' time, and this is our rate increase, and you need to tell the public those two things together. And they said, oh, well, we don't have to, but we'll
they don't
cobble
have to.
something together.
Legislatively, they don't have to.
It's actually really wrong.
But,
it should go out together.
Whether it's the right thing to do or not,
the state government has to go out with a 4-year proposal.
Well, legislatively, they don't have to do it. They don't have to present it until what? September?
Yeah,
August?
it's September. And by that stage, as a council, and there was all this drama about, the administration, and I'm kind of a bit critical of them, because we really do need these documents together, because it's very difficult for me to make a decision around how much our rate increase should be and justify that when, maybe it actually should be way more than 6.68.
See, you've got to be in the bonnet on that. I've got to be in the bonnet that they're not actually being clear that we're spending money out of the renewals to upgrade our main streets. And this will not only be for Highness Street. This will probably also be for Hutt Street.
Everything, right?
It'd be for all of them.
Because
there'll be no way that you could spend $15 million on Hutt Street. There'll be no way O'Connell Street can be
the original concept design for Hutt Street was $40 million.
Yeah.
So they're going to pull the same trick and then pull it out of renewals.
I don't know.
So I have no idea and no kind of certainty over what's actually proposed here.
But I did vote against the budget last night, against a part of the budget, which was
we delayed it, didn't we? We sent it back to committee, I think. So we didn't accept any of the proposals. I believe we sent it back to the committee so that we could look at it all together.
Well, I didn't agree with it because Phil and his friends wanted to look at the business activation and all the grants. And so I'm going to myself, I know where they're heading, because in the briefing, with the CEO briefing, Councillor Elliott brought up, why do we need to pay for this? Now, mind you, this is a $650,000 in the budget, $650,000. 184 of it is for the Australia Day, which leaves $460,000 for activations in a capital city.
Yeah.
I reckon Prospect spend more than that.
I'm quite sure it does.
So
I know who's doing that there.
466,000 is left, whatever, approximately, give or take, to activate for business activation within the city. Now, I keep saying it, 80% of your rates come from businesses. And you might say to me, Mary, and what does that mean? Well, that means that if we are not supporting our businesses and we have high vacancy rates, the residential rate payer is the one that's going to be paying for it because these people are going to be unable to pay their rates.
Well, that's right. So we've got to look at our rate income like any kind of business would.
Exactly.
If a business increases their and Councillor Giles was saying, no, that's not how it works. I was like, absolutely, that's how it works. If Haig's chocolates, who we can see through the window, double the price of their chocolates, people will eat less of them.
Yes.
All right. And for what that means for us, if we increase the rates, it means that there'll be more commercial vacancy. All right. Now, I'm looking at the figures from 2018. We're already very much like higher, I think, than other councils now, of which we actually have very little transparency. So if you ask that question to the administration, it's very difficult to actually get an answer on, how much are we actually charging in comparison to other councils? No, it's very difficult to understand the way that we do it. But it's like running a business. So if we have higher commercial, less vacancy rates, more people in the city, the way that we earn our rates is based on the annual value method, which is the amount of rent that they pay.
That's right.
That's how we compare it. So if we have businesses which are more activated, have more foot traffic, are of a higher value, are making more money, there's more people in the city, there's less vacancy rates, there's more competition, rents go up, we make more money. So we as a council should really be thinking about how can we maximize the landlord charging rent to 75%, 80% of our residents so that we make more money. And business activation is the exact thing that's going to do that.
Exactly. But the other thing is that they put an assumption that we're going to have a natural rate increase of new rates of about 1%. Is that
that's what they've been assuming, for a number of years.
But you cannot just assume that it will only be 1% each year. They based it on during the COVID years when no one was doing any developments, right? Surely that's a lot more.
Well, that's the thing. I saw the Lord Mayor today.
Yeah.
Now she's criticising the new development, the 38-storey building in the Festival Plaza, which would be a whole bunch more rates for us.
Yeah. Well, only on the one that's privately.
Yeah.
But you know what's going to happen, Henry?
What?
The government's going to move in there. So they're going to take up most of the floors.
So we can't charge them rates.
So you can't charge them rates.
They get an exemption.
And that's why she's upset. This is her party, isn't it?
I don't know. But they were also saying that we also needed like premium commercial space. Yeah, it was her party. We need more premium commercial space so we can actually get higher level tenants into Adelaide because they won't take lower quality C and D grade type of property. So people are talking about vacancy rates, right? But the vacancy rates for A-class commercial is very, very low. C and D, very, very high because workers do not want to sit in old office space.
Yeah, I agree with all that, Henry. I mean, this is my opinion, okay? Personally, I think it's a really odd spot to put a really tall building.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I just think we should put them everywhere.
I think we should put them everywhere.
I like tall buildings.
But not right.
I'm building a tall building.
Not right. But not, where you're building it is great.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
I'm telling you, I don't think we're really
Yeah.
thinking about what will our skyline look like.
Sydney, I think, has done that. Have you seen the shots of Sydney in the main city, and you can see the buildings kind of go up, off to the right, and it looks really intentional.
There is thought. I don't know if there is. I assume there's a thought process. I don't think we're really thinking this through, and I don't think that it's going to look. That it's going to dwarf Parliament House. It's a beautiful building. We are, not going to get much rates out of it. It's going to take people away from the CBD. Don't forget, we've got a very small population.
So you're on board with the Lord Mayor? That's what she was saying. She was saying that they're going to build like a retail precinct and pull people out of the city.
It will definitely pull people. You got to remember, we're not Sydney. We've got a very small population. And I don't know if we're ready for that yet. We should be concentrating on what is happening, what we have in the city at the moment.
I have a very different point of view. It's that if you build new good quality commercial space, bigger businesses will come and occupy that because they
Well,
now
that's
have
true too.
quality stuff. So there'll be more people in the city. And so then, yes, they'll be going to that retail precinct, but then they'll also, go across the road to Bibliotech and this is actually the worst part is there'll be more people in Shotgun Willie's. So the line will get longer.
Yeah.
So we don't want any of that. So maybe just ban everyone from that office space from going to Shotguns. There's more people in the city. How is that a bad thing for anyone?
Well, this is like the other thing. I mean,
And no one from here's going to walk to that retail precinct. Like for lunch, I'm not going to walk and go there. I'm just going to go to...
Yeah, but where do they go already? Everyone that is in that precinct there, they come this way into the mall.
Okay.
Right? So you're
pollies.
driving all of that away.
Well, we keep the pollies over there. We don't want them in the city.
Yeah, but you're going to have more than
That's probably what's scaring everyone off.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just think... I don't think we're getting the balance right. And the other thing is, we're talking about... We've got a boulevard here.
Yeah.
We should be concentrating on development on this boulevard. And we're putting horses on it. Right? We've got horses on Kim William Road.
Yeah. What's wrong with the horses?
You're putting them on premium retailed land.
Yeah.
You're putting them right in the heart of the city. And there's
You mean just walking around?
No, the where they've moved the
Aren't
horses.
we moving them to Gummaraka?
No.
I thought aren't
behind
they all the way over at Jets
They're
Cross?
behind the law courts. They're building it now.
Are they? Have I missed that?
You've missed it.
Oh my God.
How much
How
is
did I
that
miss that?
land worth?
I thought they were putting out on Jets Cross.
The headquarters is there.
Yeah.
But what they call them when they
were they stables?
Yeah, the stables. They're putting them on prime land. That we could be building a building that could service the businesses down on that side.
Yeah, right.
And it's right next to the market.
Well, it's embarrassing for me to not know that. But yeah, right.
It's right next to the market.
I don't know. I quite like horses.
I have no problem with the horses.
They won't let you pat them though. You
I
go
have
to the cop and
no
say, "Can I pat
problem
your
with
horse?"
horses.
And
Don't get me wrong,
don't
but
touch my horse.
if you're really talking about,
I guess if you went up to someone and said, "Can I pat your Ferrari?" and they said no.
I mean,
So
but I'm just saying
yeah,
that's
fine.
prime million. That's millions of dollars worth of land.
Well, then what do you think
isn't
about the
there a
Crown and Anchor?
Wow, this is where
That's another big.
I
tower.
draw a line.
Student
on
accommodation, of which we need more of.
Do we?
Yes, we do.
Right there.
Man, we are not getting on this
Right
time, are we?
there,
This
no.
is our opinions are our own.
No.
You don't-
So you're happy to have horses on millions of dollars worth of land right behind the courts.
Well,
right?
no, that doesn't really make
But
sense.
you want to knock
I
down
don't know why they don't put them at
a
Featherton.
heritage building.
No, I don't want to knock down the heritage building. Hold on, I think I'm very personal.
You want to have our culture of our city destroyed just so we can have more students.
Let
in
me
the
give you a
precinct.
Greens card, first of all. With the horses, I think they should be at the barracks. The barracks over the other side of the
Oh, it's already a done
South
deal.
Coast.
It's
Yeah,
a
I
done
know.
deal now.
That's where I think they should go.
It's done now. They didn't want it there. That's why it's on prime millions of dollars worth of it. How embarrassing.
At least it's not in the middle of the parklands in the middle of a footy pitch. But second of all, Crown and Anchor, you've bought into this
I didn't
Greens
buy into
Kool-Aid.
it. I do not buy
You
it.
voted for the worst motion I've ever seen in my life.
Well, it was a very poorly written motion.
And it
I
was
do get that.
it was
right,
awful.
Our concerns to
And everyone's
the
like, yeah, we're doing
Premier.
something.
But we don't have a say. But
Okay, so
okay, stop.
Crown and Anchor.
Stop.
Yeah.
Let me just say something here. I am very pro heritage.
Yeah.
Okay, very.
But are you pro
I'm very
heritage?
pro keeping culture within our city alive.
Yes, but are you pro at keeping heritage alive?
I am pro at
You're pro heritage, but are you pro at
both.
keeping heritage in the city and developing it?
So then you
Because
tell me
those two things are very different.
How is it going to so what they basically want to do is plonk this development right in the middle of the Crown of Anchor and keep the facade of it.
So the facade is apparently locally heritage listed.
Yeah, but how
apparently
ugly.
I don't know how
over
that
it.
works.
Yeah,
by
but
the way.
I'm over them building these buildings behind another building, a heritage building. I actually am over it. I'm over it. I'm done.
I want to talk about mine then. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, but yours is a bit different though.
Yeah.
Little bit different. But
Well,
this
it's
is,
just the facade. Over there, it's got that sliver of the heritage
yeah.
piece, right? That's not even worth it, right? Just get rid of it. But look, the Crown and Anchor is locally the facade. I understand is locally heritage listed, but the back end of it isn't. So first of all, why isn't the whole thing heritage
like what
listed?
they did to the car park next door to it. They've got this a whole heritage facade and then a car park in it.
Yeah. So that I don't like, and that's the Melbourne kind of style of doing things.
Yes, it is.
But secondly, first of all, like, why not heritage list the whole thing? But we do need more student accommodation. So where is it going to go?
There's plenty of places for it to go. It's just that we are.
So then why do they want to put it there?
Because they're developers. They've acquired the land.
Developers don't just go around hating heritage places.
You reckon?
Yeah. I mean, there's this white building over here full of, I think it's full of asbestos.
Which one?
There's this white one here that's got graffiti all over and it's
What,
boarded
you want
up.
that one to be
Sandy. Well,
knocked down?
why isn't that knocked down? It's boarded up with, and then
You
I
mean
remember
the Edmund
Sandy
Wright building?
is the white one.
You're talking about Edmund Wright building,
be.
or you're talking about which one are you talking about?
I don't know. I'm not good at names, John.
You're talking about the old birthdays and marriages building.
The ugly one. No, not the Edmund Wright building.
What are you talking about?
Oh, look, I'll try and find it and find.
You're talking about.
There's a white building just around the corner over there, which is all boarded up.
Yeah, but hasn't it got development plans on it?
I don't know. Why isn't it built? It's been like that. Sandy was the one. Sandy Verschoor was the one who put the boards up there, and I saw a photo of her because she got them painted on.
Yeah, I think there's development.
55 Peary Streets.
I think there's a development plan for that.
Oh, well, then they need to start building on it, or lose the development approval.
Or why don't you start building on yours?
Well, I am. I'm doing geotech. I'm doing geotech next week. I've got a massive drilling machine that's, Grant, you might be interested in this. We're drilling 70 meters down and we're starting to do the geotech.
Oh, okay.
And you know why we haven't started? Is because we're still waiting for development approval from the planning department.
Right.
So because there was a traffic concern and some other stuff. So about penetration into the air height. So we're just dealing with that and then made the submission. Now we're just waiting for development approval. But if that process was faster, if that process was easier and it was less expensive and less risky, because I can tell you getting development approval is extremely expensive.
Oh, I know that.
It costs millions for a tower.
Millions for a tower, yes.
Yeah. So and for a house, the equivalent, right? It's actually very much cost prohibitive. So if you want to make it, and if it's to do with heritage, it's a million times harder. So if you want to preserve heritage in the city, you need to give some bend and break here.
Well, I'm currently renovating my local heritage house in North Adelaide, and it is quite
it's costing a pretty penny.
Yeah, exercise.
When's your housewarming? Oh yes, okay. So the Crown and Anchor, they moved a motion to write to the Premier.
Yes.
Saying, hey, let's introduce basically a new scheme, which would preserve cultural and cultural and entertainment precincts, and put them on their own heritage register.
Yes.
That's nuts. If you ever own a cafe, don't play Spotify in there in case it becomes some cultural center. Right? Shotgun Willies, that will then be preserved. Anyone who plays music, Red Square, you can have the old HQ site because I went there when I was younger. I went to Swish. What are you now going to put in cult because you play music or you have live music in a venue? Well, don't do that. That's what landlords are going to be saying is I don't want to play live music in case you slap it with cultural heritage. So when we're talking about destroying things, that would destroy everything. And second of all, his motion, Councillor Snape's motion, did nothing. You're going to write a letter to the Premier.
And to the ministers.
Oh, and to the ministers saying, let's talk about maybe, introducing a new scheme that's just going to mess. They don't give a crap.
Well, I'd love to see this letter.
And you voted for it.
I voted for it because...
And I'm the bad guy. And I got a bad photo in Daily.
Did you? I voted...
I had a great one that my mum loves. And she's actually got it in her apartment, like in her house. It's the one like this in the light blue suit. Looking very concerned, looking very dapper. And now I just look like a yobba going, I don't know. This is how big my zucchini is.
Well, I voted for it.
Sorry, with context, I have a very large actual zucchini.
Yeah, last episode. I voted for it, Henry, because of its intent. I didn't vote for it because of its wording. Its wording, it was very poorly worded. It was very poorly executed in its...
What was the intent?
The intent was that we need to ensure that we keep the heritage and our live culture of our city alive.
That's not what that's
and continue. The live music bit kind of got me, but the heritage bit is the one that I was really... Yeah. If I voted against that, I'm voting against what I believe in. So it was hard. It's kind of like a church, isn't it?
Well, I'm not saying that I don't believe in it. I just don't believe it's effective.
Oh,
and what
yeah.
I'm saying is, see, this is my issue. And I said this to the gallery. There's 200 people
But
in
it
the
got
gallery.
him social media. It got him.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I said got in daily articles.
It got in daily articles.
Because 200
though-
people rock up thinking, yeah, let's move a motion that we support the Crown and Anchor. Cool. It's now going to get demolished and there's going to be a giant tower there. You know, well done. And you know what? You know what that motion saved? Nothing. And you miss the opportunity. When you have an angry mob, you need to do something with your angry mob, not just pass platitudes so everyone can go home and have a good night's sleep. That's it won't do anything.
The only thing
My issue with that is do something. Do something which is actually meaningful with heritage.
Yeah.
And actually put in some work with landlords, figure out how we can get them up to standard. Like the building that I'm a custodian for, we need $12 million. Where are we going to get $12 million for unless we do something big? Right? So how did it get to that stage? You know, that's the type of conversation
I get what
we
you're
need to talk
saying, but I feel that voting against it would have gone against all of my principles in believing that, you know, these buildings are important within a city of Adelaide, and we need to have a stance as a council to let the government know, because unfortunately they don't come to council and ask us
I know, because
opinion.
we keep moving stupid motions.
They only give us the administration write a comment to SCAP in regards to it.
Oh no, well the council actually plays a pretty big role.
Yeah,
but it's on traffic.
But administration would need
it's on
to
traffic and
know
other
the
stuff.
direction of council and how they feel about it. And I think the administration needed to know how, as a council, how we felt about it.
Yeah.
That was my reason. But what really made me laugh at the end of it was that they were going on about, you know, in their speeches how important, you know, these live music venues are and how important our businesses are in the city. And, you know, there was like this
Let's put up
heartfelt
rates.
and heartfelt, we need to stand behind our businesses, and yet we're going to cut business activation.
Oh, it was the same thing. Yeah, 100%.
And
Same
I
thing for
went-
reconciliation.
Yeah.
We're going to support the vote for the yes vote.
Yeah.
And the motion before that, they cut reconciliation funding done by the Adelaide Crows.
Yeah.
Like,
it was weird.
It's just nonsensical.
It's so weird. That's the they don't. I do not like it when people do not follow within their principles all the way through.
Yeah.
And like
There's
I
some
said
hard
to you,
things following your principles.
going against his motion will be going against my principles on how I feel about heritage.
Well, I couldn't vote for some silly Greens motion that didn't do nothing.
That's fair. And that's where we agree to disagree. Agree and disagree.
I'll work on you. The Parklands leases, just last thing. So that got... what happened with that? We were looking at... oh, no, that's right. We were talking about in the budget, the 1.5% allocation for
That's right.
building renewals. So there's a whole bunch...
And that was the Lord Mayor's idea. I actually quite like that idea.
Yeah.
That was a good idea.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because then it's kind of guaranteed and also match with state government because...
So you're taking, just so we can recap on that, taking 1.5% out of our budget to allocate towards
renewals for sporting
facilities for buildings on our parklands, and asking the state government to match that. So then we could just build a kitty. And that's a lot of what I would like to do with our budget, and that's a quarantining for certain things within our that's important is really something that I would like to do. I do not like how we're increasing rates. Like last year, it was up to 10% cap. This budget,
some of them will be spilling over. So 6.68%, some people will be hitting at 10%.
They would be. They would be. And so what concerns me, Henry, is that all of that goes into operations. We're not clear about how much of that operations money will be we're allocating a certain percent to renewals, but that renewals is to the upgrade of main streets, and we're hitting everybody and not being clear with where our money is always going.
And you know what?
In my opinion, sorry, Henry.
Go.
What people are telling me is that if what my ratepayers are saying, that I have detailed discussions in regards to the budget, are feeling is that they do not believe that this council is being very clear on what we're going to be spending on the main streets. And they feel that they're going to be going over budget, and they're going to feel that we're not going to be meeting a lot of the standards that they would expect from the main streets.
And also, like, the Honey Street looks actually pretty bland. And the Lord Mayor made that point. It's like, Is this going to be, is this the biggest party street? This is the biggest party street in Adelaide.
Can I ask you?
It's kind of
What did you think about the concept plans?
It's grey.
Can I give you my opinion?
There's no T. This grey. It's not great. It's, it's a street and there are people walking there and there are some trees and I think there was a park bench. So, cool.
On my opinion?
Yeah, always.
I don't understand why they have this wombat crossing. Can you imagine drunken people?
Oh, you don't want wombats on Homely Street.
No, that's what they got. They've got this massive wombat crossing
Not
with
wombats.
no lights. So you got cars going either way. And then,
you'll never be able to
And
get
then
through.
you will never, ever be able to move your car
No.
if they've got people that are partying and having a good time at night, just crossing. And they're not going to be taking consideration letting the flow.
Yeah.
So I don't understand.
And it's down to one lane as well, isn't it? They're
No,
reducing the
no.
lanes. It's parking
Oh,
lots.
yes. Yeah, not one lane.
No,
It's
sorry.
still
So
the-
one each way.
Yeah, each way,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The other thing is that they've got park benches everywhere. So it's going to be encouraging rough sleeping.
Mm.
And then they've got raised garden beds because they can't put trees in our ground for some sort of reason because of the services. So they've got raised garden beds, which is going to...
They're going to last well.
Oh, yeah.
100% some dude walks along and rips out
So what kills me is
some
that I
bunch of
really
parsley,
hope
whatever
our
they're part of it.
businesses really participate in the consultation because I don't
Yeah.
think the people that designed this understand how Hindley Street works.
Yeah. Look, and maybe we need to think about some, some really big kind of streets as well, what they do look like from an entertainment precinct. What is the coolest party street from probably Las Vegas, but that's all the businesses on the side.
Well, yeah, but you got to, how is that street used?
I don't know. Maybe we should just go boring because that's our job. We just need to give people pavers, right?
No, well, they want to widen the footpath, which is fine. They want to add outdoor dining, which is fine.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah, but I just think,
Sure,
are we
sure.
really thinking about the safety aspect? Are we got to add, parking bays for, like Ubers and things like
That's
that?
a good idea.
Yeah, all of that.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, anything
Well,
else
we'll see
happen,
how it
Henry?
goes. I'm about to plant all my snow peas and snow peas.
Snow peas.
Yeah. So I've
Do you want to know what I made with your zucchini?
oh, what'd you make?
Zucchini is lasagna.
There you go. You use that as instead of pasta?
instead of pasta.
Yeah. Well, I use them for zoodles.
Yeah, well, it's the same sort of thing, but as a
Yeah.
lasagna.
Oh, lovely. There you
Yeah.
go. Was it all right?
It was great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. But yeah, no, this next one is just huge.
What?
It's literally this big. It's literally, and I can't even wrap my hand. It's that big. This is huge. I want to see how big it would get. But yeah, no, I'm planting snow peas and lettuce and cabbage and broad beans. So I've got
That's fantastic.
planting that all out.
Well done.
So I'm pretty much sustainable,
Well done.
unlike some other people who claim to want to be sustainable. These are things. The Conservatives are the ones who are sustainable. It's not the Greens.
Well,
they take bloody,
on that note,
Albanese and old mate is flying
we
into
tried
bloody.
to save the cranker.
Anyway, it was a
We're
different
still a
topic,
bit
federal
confused
politics.
about our budget. What else did we go on about?
Budget, and we talked about Hindley Street.
Honey Street, no, and we
And
did
big
that's-
buildings.
and that's it
Yeah, cool.
at council.
All right.
That
well,
was it.
that was the 9th of April, 2024. And Mum, thanks for coming and watching me. Didn't heckle, so that's always good.
It's always great.
Thanks,
everybody.
Positive reinforcement either. So, it's been neutral. But that's
Until next time.
right. Until next time. Bye.
Ciao.